See, it looks lovely on the outside, but it's a mess on the inside with all this. So it doesn't matter whether you have this mess or not, I still prefer to add back lining inside the bag. And for this particular bag, I'm just going to add on the side. I still want to see the base. I do not want to cover up the base. So my lining, my back lining, is just a piece of cloth like this. I have sew all the sides. It's not, I do not have a machine, so I just randomly sew all the sides so that it won't come off. If you have a machine, it'll be better. You just sew all the sides. And then now let me show you where's my, oh, where's that part that I folded here. Okay, here, this type of cloth, I'm not sure what is it called, but it's easy to fold. Once you fold, I mean, it's easy to make that line. I fold it this way. See, there's a line there. So roughly you make about the same height, same size, all the way until the end. And I am going to sew it onto the back like this. And bear in mind, I still have not added the zip. I'm gonna do all this before the zip, so do leave some space for the zip. You might need to crochet or sew with this yarn from the zip to the back. Okay, so now my job is just to cover up all this mess. This is the mess that I make from sewing this, and this is the mess from all the lining and the wording. So I would just fold it like this. I would like to start from the side because when this is kind of white on the side, so I wouldn't know how long this would take. But this is a rectangle piece, so when you do this, which means the bottom part would have to be, you know, kind of what do you call that, shrink it a bit, like doing decrease on a crochet. So you have to shrink it a bit when you sew on the base of the bag. So which means I am going to sew here as well as on the inside. This is a very wide bag, so I can actually, you know, kind of flip it around and sew it on the inside here like this. You still fold this part, but you're gonna be like this because the bottom part is more narrow than the top part. So you're gonna sew it like this. I still want to see this pink part here. I still want to see that pink part. So I'm gonna sew until like this. And once I have come until here, I will sew the sides here, which means when you sew until you come to this side here, I purposely have it a bit longer, slightly longer, just in case, because when you put it near, you know, you might not get the exact thing, the exact length. This is just a rough idea. So once I'm here, so when you sew, you don't sew straight from this corner, you sew from this corner, so that this one and this one I could later do this. I can still hold it and sew here and place it on the inside like this. So when you start to sew, make sure this part you leave about 2 inches, 3 inches. You sew it like this. I want to make sure this corner is at the side here, so that the line here will be at the side and not when you open your bag and you could see a line there. I want the lines to be at the side, so it's not so obvious when you open up the bag. Oops, sorry. Oh gosh. I've got to be very careful. So I'm gonna sew with a normal sewing thread and needle. Right. You just fold this part. Just press on it. If you want, you can iron it. I'm lazy to open my iron just for this. So you just press it down depending on the type of cloth you have. For mine, this is way so easy. See the line? So what you're gonna do is make sure this is at the corner here. I'll just show you one of the stitch. And when you sew, let's say the highest is this, the highest to height is this. So I start from here. So every time when you sew, you make sure you have these 2 lines here, 2 rows. So you're gonna sew on the cloth, lining cloth, and you're gonna sew on this, and once you pull, trust me, you can't see the stitch. I prefer to hand sew it than to machine sew, because when you machine sew on a crochet bag, you will see a line of, which I do not want. It will ruin my bag, right? I mean, you will see a line of sewing. I do not want that. I want this. So I'll come back to you once I am done with this part, and we will go to the zip. Make sure when you sew the inside, you just grab from the inside and it will not show from the outside. Because this is a very thick yarn, you just need to grab a bit, that's all. Okay. I'll come back to you once I'm done with this part. Okay, let me show you what I've done so far. I have sewed the sides here. You see, once you pull the thread, you can't even see the thread. That's what I like about hand sewn rather than machine sew. And oops, what's the other corner? Here. And this part here, I join it up before I sew this part. So I just flip it to the back, sew this part, then here. So now let me show you how I'm gonna sew the inside here. Because the back is wide enough, you can actually flip it the other side. Just flip it inside out, so the back will look like this. The top part will be here, like this. Okay. So all you have to do is fold this in, and because here you will have extra cloth, because this is more narrow than the top is way more. So you not necessarily have to pull this real tight to get it exactly. You don't have to pull it real tight to get it exactly. You can do just this, where it has extra, so that when you move it around, you still have extra, you know. You don't have to, you know, make it exactly. So I'm gonna sew right here. I still want this pink part to show. So when you look inside the bag, it's kind of nice to see this part here. So here, since we have extra, I'm gonna do this. I do not like to put pin. Clumsy people like me, I might hurt myself. So it's best that I just stitch this like this, except when I see it, then I just fold it and stitch it. So from the inside here, you won't see this much because this is at the bottom of the bag. Okay, and just like the top, you just sew 1 stitch on the back and 1 stitch on this back lining, and you're good to go. You can fold it to the right side or you can hold it to the left side. It's totally fine here, like this. And in the end, when you open up the back, you can still see this pink part here. Okay, I'll come back to you once I have this nicely fastened. Okay, this is how the inside look like. I would prefer the inside look like this. And one thing, the top part is more wide than I expected, so the previous zip is too short, so I got myself another zip. This is a way longer one, but here folds in a bit. This zip is 30 cm. I think the earlier one was around 18 or 15, I'm not sure. So this one is 30 cm and this is wider than 30 cm. So here I still have to crochet something here and here to cover up the hole. You still have two holes unless if you do not mind. And I normally would do this for my zip. I would do a chain. This is a chain 60, and I do 2 rows of single crochet all around, and I make sure this is way longer than my zip. This part does not count because it's gonna bend in anyway, so I count until here. So it's gonna be longer than my actual zip, so that here I would have space. I'm going to do a small piece here of single crochet and join this piece with another piece. So this piece here, let me just show you. You get the same yarn, the same 8-ply cotton yarn. You start with a knot. You make a knot. This is just my habit of making a knot. Then you just chain 60. 1, 2, 3. Or you can just chain to the length that you want. Maybe you want it to be exactly the size of the zip, or your zip is you don't need this. Maybe you have, nowadays they have that kind of zip where the flap here is kind of big and it's kind of long, then you do not need this. You just sew it onto the side here. But mine, I prefer to sew this. You can see holes here, tiny holes. I'm gonna use a black thread. Sew this onto this. So this one, you just do single crochet, chain 60, then you do 2 rows of single crochet. So which means I did 1 row of single crochet and then another row of single crochet. So you see there are 2 rows of single crochet. And then it's up to you which one you want to use as the top or the bottom. One side will be like this. I think this side looks nicer. And I'm going to sew this onto here. Let me sew one part first, and I'll show you the other parts. Okay. So this one, you just single crochet to the length that you want, then you do 2 rows of single crochet all around. Okay, once you have a chain 60, you can measure it on your back. So my 60 is the same length as this. So chain 60, and after that I turn my work. I work on the bum side, and you see this V shape here, this V shape. Once you turn it around, you will see all this bum side. So I'm going to work on this bum side. So you go to the second stitch from the hook. This is the hook. This is the first stitch. This is the second stitch. just turn to the back and go to the bum side and start to do your single crochet all the way down. So I should have 59 single crochet. Single crochet until the end of the row, and once you're at the end here, I'll just turn my work without chain one. I don't chain one, so I just turn my work, go to this first stitch and continue with my single crochet. So you just single crochet all the way here and you will get something like this. And I'll leave a long tail so that I can sew this onto the back. Whereas this to this, I'm going to use a black thread so that here you can't see. So I'm going to use a black thread, and later I'll show you how I'm going to sew it onto the zip. Okay, now instead of using a pin to pin it down, I make one stitch here. I have 7 stitch left outside here before I make this stitch. So I make sure this side I have 7 stitch left as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I put my needle on the 8th stitch because it's kind of stretchable. So you have to pull it a bit. So once I start from, oops, I should do that again. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should be here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want 7 stitches to be outside so that I can make some crochet piece here to cover up the hole, because when I put this in, see, there will still be holes here and here, unless if you do not mind. So let me make this first stitch and then I'll just continue from here. Like this. So I'm gonna sew all the way here. Actually, after you sew, you still have this piece chucking out here like this. And I can sew this onto the side here. Okay, I did a small piece here, especially for here, because when this goes down and your bag will have a big hole here, so I'm going to join this here. This is a chain 6, chain 7. Then I did single crochet to and fro, every row single crochet until it matches this length here. So you see, if it's too short, you can make one more row. If not, then this should be just right, and you use the tail, sew it here and here, and this part here will be covered up like this. So you do one more here, this side. So this is optional, unless you don't mind there's a hole in your bag over here and here. So I prefer that it's close up, so I'm gonna make one piece here and one more piece here. I'm gonna cover it up, or you can make it longer so that it covers it up like this. Like this, and this is your zip over here. Okay, so I'll come back to you once I have this fastened. Okay, the final thing, it looks like this. So here I just stitch up here and here. Actually, they do sell zips like this, like, you know, with this leather piece at the side. I just couldn't get one lately, so it's okay, I'll do my own. So now this bag, you fold it into two like this. Make sure it has a sharp edge here, and put a marker at the midpoint here. Okay, so let me show you. Once you're at the midpoint, like, oops, sorry for that sound. Like, for example, this is the midpoint. It has to be in the middle of this. So 1, 2, 3, this should be the middle. 1, 2, 3, because I have 6 stitches here. So what do you think? Is this the middle? So if this is the middle, we're gonna start to stitch here, stitch it up here. So you have two choices. Either you stitch one row down like here, so that you have a top, or you sew exactly on top here on the last row. I think both look as nice. So this one, your bag will look like this, or you make it one row down, your bag will kind of have a kind of edge. It looks nice as well. So which means when you sew, you can either sew it here to here, and then from the back here to here. So here you just follow this stitch, or the bottom here, when you sew, you just grab this stitch, you just grab this row, this stitch, the single crochet stitch. So the back here will not show, and you still have a little bit of edge on the top, a little bit of space on the top. Right, so this is optional. It's up to you which part you want to join up. So I will join it from here all the way. So if you decided to join on the top part, you make sure all you do the same, and here you make sure you join this midpoint to this midpoint. So always sew the two corner first before you sew the sides, because this one, it's easy, because sometimes you could have extra. Doesn't matter, you can adjust. Most important is here, because if you continue to sew from here, this one will run. It either go this way or this way, so it won't be exactly in the middle. So you get your middle point first, both sides, the midpoint. Sew this part first, then sew here, then sew the sides, and you will have a lovely bag. I'll come back to you and show you how it look like. Okay, it's finally done. This is how the top part would look like. I sew all around here. And this is the zip. Oh, I zip it too far in. This corner here actually can hide inside. This is how the inside look like, and this is how the outside would be. Yeah, I sewed all around here, so there's a lot of hand sew. Unless you don't mind machine sew, you can do that. This bag is not really that big, neither is it small. You can still put a lot of stuff inside. So thank you for watching. Hope you like this bag as much as I do. So remember to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you in my next post.